I can start this time.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to the Long Story Short podcast. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Jade.
Hope you all had a great week. Today we are here on a Monday again to talk about some things we thought would be entertaining for you guys. But I first wanted to mention that Jessie Buckley won 4 Oscars, or?
Was it 4?
It was all of them in the woman category, so everything, the 4 of them. And she's the only one who has won that. And she's the first Irish female to have won Oscars Best Actress.
I did see that, and I watched the clip this morning as well of her acceptance speech.
Oh, the
and
speech
I thought
was
it was
really
so
good.
Especially because it ties in so much to the movie and how important it is being a mother and all that kind of thing. And it fit well because it was Mother's Day in the UK and everything. So
and her level of language was just so well proportioned and well said. I feel like if I would be standing up at a podium like that, there is no way. I'd be like, thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Not having the courage to say anything.
Yeah, I wonder if one is supposed to, or if you have some kind of idea that you might win, or at least that you're nominated, if you would prepare some kind of speech. Maybe roughly. But yeah.
But that also brings such like hope to one's like doubting of getting an Oscar. So I guess you want to keep it as subtle as possible.
Yeah.
But I think practicing would be important because you have some type of muscle memory, I guess.
Yeah.
But it would be a blur to me. I just know.
But it seemed like it came quite naturally to her, and I think she's generally very well spoken anyway. So even if she hadn't prepared anything, she sounded really good.
She sounds so well educated, right?
Yeah. Well, she is, I guess. And I love her accent. But she definitely deserved that all the way, in my opinion. And I haven't seen the other movies, but I am curious to see the other movies that were nominated, because Michael B. Jordan also won.
I really want to watch The Sinners.
But it is, I think, supposed to be not a horror, but a thriller, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then we should watch it together.
Yeah, we should watch it. And I also want to watch One Battle After Another. And what was the other one that was...
The ping pong movie.
Right, Marty Supreme with Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, ping pong.
I saw pictures of them comparing him at the Oscars yesterday and him 2018. He was wearing the same suit, like a full white suit. But it was his Call Me By Your Name era and his Marty Supreme era, which is so different. Like, it's not the same person.
Definitely not.
Oh, he's a different person. For the better,
I don't know if I love his acting in the things I've seen him in recently.
I mean, Dune is quite good, I guess.
I haven't seen that.
I love Dune, but I love Zendaya more. I'm just watching her, not Timothy Chalamet. Dune is good. You should watch it. Yeah. It's a really good series. The book is really thick, you know?
I don't think I could get through that, even though I do like fantasy, but I don't think I could get through that, honestly.
It's a bit more dark fantasy,
I fear. Yeah. Talking about reading, I did finish 2 books in the last 2 days.
Ooh, damn!
And they were really good.
What did you read?
Well,
that's crazy.
The first book, it took me like a few days to read, but I finished it yesterday, last night, and it was really, really good. It was called The Safe Keep, and the author's name is eluding me right now, but it was so good, and it's one of the best books I've read in the whole of the whole year. And the twist at the end was so unexpected. I was just like, whoa, what just happened?
Did you read it at work when you had time? Or?
Yes.
Because I'm like, how did you fit? But of course, it makes sense now.
It was a short book.
I was at the reception, me sketching, you reading.
But anyway, so that was fun. And the book I read today was called Open Water. That was really interesting as well, but the writing style was very specific and a bit confusing. Okay. But of course, I get a lot of my book recommendations from Jack Edwards. He hasn't really let me down yet.
I've really been into watching his videos these days. They're so satisfying, and something about he's so well spoken as well. And I love his interviews with celebrities. I know he has this library system at home, which I really want to do later on when I have like a whole wall full of books, is you get a scanner and you know which book you have at home. You can just see it on
That would be really fun, and I would
computer.
love to actually be able to lend out my books to people and
send them threatening messages. Your book is to be back in 2 days. The fee is 160 crowns.
That would be my dream.
Yeah. Well, I've been reading Animal Farm by George Orwell. Haven't finished it, nor have I gotten to the middle yet, but a little behind my 2026 reading goal, which is 12 books. So 1 book a month, but I've been kind of almost living at the studio now, half and half. My neck is like destroyed.
How's it been going?
I can feel it here, and I can hear like it's been going good. It's I've gotten into the environment there more. It's like a communal studio, so there's a lot of members there. The fee is very low. I mean, there's not too many people at the same time because everyone has different schedules, but it's open 24/7, so I can stay as long as I want to. I get unlimited access. I can also buy some things there if I need anything.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll take me a few more days to be done with the wall shelf for my cups. But yeah, there's a lot of doubting going on, comparing myself to last year and thinking that I should be better now that I'm into year 2 of woodworking. I'm trying to make them as simple as possible with like no screws, just like wood binding, like old Japanese techniques where you just fit together the wood and you can glue it together and then you don't need any screws and stuff. But I don't want it to be too simple that they're gonna think that it's a flop.
Good job.
We're going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this,
yeah,
girly. You're
Thank
doing
you.
a good job.
All right. But do we feel ready to get into today's
definitely.
questions?
So today we thought we'd try a bit of a different structure for our episode, but what we did is we wrote some questions and we sent it to some of our friends and got them to answer some questions, to send in some dilemmas or questions of their own as well.
I was saying this to Jade earlier, but I'm sad we took a peek at it before. It would have been nice if we were surprised by it just because it's submitted by our friends, but
yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, just some casual questions, but also some questions they have for us, and we'll get right into it. This might become a part 1 out of part 2s, but we'll see how it goes, you know?
It might be quite long, so we'll see.
And it's hard to guess who is who, honestly, because
yeah, I think it's quite...
everyone has their deep, dark secrets.
Because it is supposed to be anonymous, but because we know our friends so well, I can also kind of tell, okay, who wrote in what, and I kind of know, but I don't know everyone, and I'm only guessing. Should we first do, like, we answer it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the first question that we had was, what is a dating red flag that you actually find yourself attracted to? And do you have anything? Like, any answer for this question?
I mean, I used to like myself a mysterious man. I feel like those types of guys are just interesting to like from far away, you know?
Observe them from afar and they're just quiet.
Be a bit flirtatious. You kind of mutually know you're interested in each other, but you don't really do anything about it. Those kind of things I would like.
So you kind of have more to wonder about and be curious about because they're a bit more reserved. Yeah, it's just normal to wonder about those things, even though you know in your heart of hearts that you are sure. Your mind will always wonder and be curious.
I'm mesmerized by the thought of something because I know too little about it.
And also, with a lot of things, they seem more intriguing when there's not as much information or when you know you can't have it. For example, I always say, a crush is just a lack of information. The more you get to know someone,
right?
The more you will not be as intrigued.
But I mean, dating red flag, mysterious.
Yeah.
I like a person with aura, but I don't think that's necessarily mysterious.
But just like giving off a good energy.
Yeah.
Or confidence.
I don't know. I maybe do like some type of flirtatious energy.
Kind of a bit like
if I enjoy it.
Yeah.
They have to be hot, otherwise do not flirt with me. I have to find them attractive.
Yes.
To be able to flirt with someone.
Yeah.
Although I'm past that phase now.
I think for me, I realized, and I think maybe someone wrote about this as well, but I realized that I'm more attracted to people who are a bit more reserved and maybe don't show obviously that they like me. And then I feel like I have to chase a bit, which is really toxic. And
that's your whole ass relationship. I swear to God, this girl.
So I'm just more attracted to men who don't want me.
But I do think you do have a trait of falling into people, not easily, but like you're just born very nice and loving and caring for someone.
So I care for anyone.
No,
even though they're a rat.
Of course you have to be interested in them. No rats here. But I'm just thinking that you are very caring and loving from the get-go. It's not something that you have to try to get into and think about. It just comes naturally to you. So when someone is reserved, you always feel like you're putting more love into the relationship or this person. And then it cycles into you doubting yourself and not feeling loved enough and those kind of things. So I definitely do know that you need to meet a guy that has, if not the same, even more of that loving and caring energy.
But I think my problem is, now I don't have a lot of dating experience, but I do think that if someone was quite forward with me and showed that they really cared about me, I would kind of not be as attracted to them anymore.
Well, what if they're really hot?
Yeah,
and
maybe.
your type. See, they have to be your exact type.
Yeah.
The thing is, if a guy that's not your type comes up and starts being flirtatious to you, shows interest in you, immediately ick alert. I'm like, of course, get away from me. Like,
of course,
no, thank you. But it's kind of the same. The mysterious part, more reserved, talks a bit less, makes you ponder in your thoughts more than actually. The time having a discussion with this person is like way less than. What the reality think in your head
compared to what you've made them out to be is not matching
totally
up.
Different. I can go with the first one.
Yeah.
So this first person says, haven't dated enough people to know, but with crushes I feel more attracted to them when they show little to no interest.
That's kind of what we were talking about. So, and again, crushes from afar are more attractive
but it's just bad boy energy.
Yeah.
That we kind of... Are we built into liking that by society's norms, or
is it
just a natural trait that people have?
I have no idea. But it seems like a lot of people kind of have that. A dating red flag I weirdly find attractive is when a guy has that slightly rough, rebellious vibe. Like he swears a bit or uses cheeky bad words when talking to others. In brackets, not disrespectfully to me. It reminds me of that confident, Peaky Blinders type energy. Have you seen the Peaky Blinders?
That so funny. No, you sent me a picture, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah. I know it can be a red flag sometimes, but that bold, edgy personality can be kind of attractive.
There's a friend I have that likes this bad boy energy, but not in a disrespectful way, just in, I guess, a vibe way. I think this person likes a guy that's they look bad, if you know what I mean. But they're actually very nice.
They don't look ugly, but they look kind of like bad boy energy.
Look bad. Actually, yeah. They give very like edgy, sensitive, bad boy energy, but deep down they're really heartwarming. I think that's what my friend that I know would like. So that's why I suspect a person.
Sort of like a more arrogant vibe at first. Or especially when a guy would be more kind of a hard edge to the rest of the world, but for you, he will soften and be kind and warm. Only for you, not for anyone else.
No, I'm a sucker for that. I would love that, actually.
Right?
I kind of can guess who the next person is as well. But they said, there are many. First of all, the men I am attracted to are already a red flag themselves that I have realized recently, like an epiphany.
So basically they're saying, all men are red flags.
All people they choose to meet are already red flags.
Yeah.
I guess they just ignore it and still go for it, or they realize later. But I think all of our friends are capable of analyzing, like psychoanalyzing. Our friends are very good at that.
Yeah.
Psychoanalyzing if some type of behavior is a red flag or not. And sometimes you just let them slip through your hands, you know? You're like, oh, whatever.
Because you're attracted to them.
Yeah.
And you'll just let a lot of things slide. Yeah. And then that's a type in and of itself. Only, liking people who are unattainable or who are a bit toxic and who can't give you what you need.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people have that.
I mean, I guess to some extent you can be choosing the red flag because you have some toxic traits or upbringing issues. I don't know, not saying you have upbringing issues, but I'm just thinking it's not 100% your fault. Definitely not.
Red flags can be different for everyone. So maybe that red flag person is another person's perfect dream man.
Yeah.
But it's a red flag to you.
Exactly.
Well. And I think a lot of the time people are unfortunately drawn to partners who replicate the same kind of dynamic that they had in their family as a child. Like, for example, if you're used to trauma and instability and not getting enough love or whatever it might be, oftentimes we find that familiar and that feels safe because we're so used to that kind of thing. And so then people will try to replicate that or attracted to the same kind of people when they're older, which is
like
very
the productivity
unfortunate
thing. You have to unlearn in order to learn it the right way, and that takes therapy, time, self-reflection, all sorts of things. But
it is a tough one.
But I mean, kudos to you for recently realizing it, and now the tables should turn, so it'll all go better for you from now on, hopefully.
There are definitely people out there who can treat you well, and it's just a matter of time.
Because sometimes Chabin can be doing something that's a red flag, and I definitely sometimes am a red flag. If I think from Chabin's perspective, I'm like, this man has so much patience with me, because I would kick myself out of the house sometimes of how annoying I can be. So that's just how it goes, you know? Have to meet the right person that has the right type of, what was I gonna say, patience to be with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next one.
The next one. So someone else said that a red flag they find attractive is spontaneity, which usually can be a very good thing, they say, and can be fun, but long term it can cause instability within relationships and dating, which I thought was quite interesting. I haven't really heard that, but I guess if you meet someone in the beginning, spontaneity can be really fun and exciting and make you really attracted to someone, but I guess that could also signal that that person is a bit unstable or not as reliable later on into the relationship.
Right. I mean, it can also turn out for the better, you know?
Yeah.
But I think the trait of being spontaneous and the thought of being in a long-term relationship, those two are so contrasting that if you are hooked to someone because it was so spontaneous, of course the thought of being with this person long-term would be dreadful and could cause more instability for sure.
Yeah, I guess if it's like you never quite know what to expect or what decision they will make, it could be a bit worrisome or incite some kind of anxiety, you know, about what are they going to do today, and not being able to follow plans or something.
I mean, I guess if you get to know someone over a longer course of time, you find out more about the person and you're kind of skipping those stages because you like this spontaneity. You skip the process of getting to know someone better because you like to be spontaneous, and that can of course bring more problems than good compared to trying to get to know someone over a long course of time.
Yeah.
The next one is apparently poor guys with religious trauma.
Not that I have religious trauma, but I would just say having grown up partly in South Africa has influenced my view on religion. And in my school, a lot of the time religion was kind of pushed on you, and religious beliefs such as like trying to influence young girls to not have sex before marriage. Sex is a sin. Any kind of romance and stuff before marriage is sinful and not okay, can create a lot of insecurities and trauma in people. So when they do start getting in a relationship later in life, they're trying to combat these deep-rooted issues they have that have made them feel really shameful, for example.
In your teenage years, that's when you're most insecure and finding yourself. You don't really know what you base your thoughts on, or you don't have really deeply rooted opinions, I would say. It shifts so much based on who says what to you during those ages. And when it's a whole country that believes in the same religion, when it's a whole community, when it's your family and you're trying to make different decisions, of course it's not easy.
And again, with like having to unlearn those things, and that is quite a difficult thing in your early adulthood. So the next person says that they're attracted to tall and attractive men, and then that's a red flag.
Aren't we all attracted to a tall and an attractive man? Who likes a short fucking king? No. A lot of green flags in tall and attractive men as well. But I don't like when they know they're attractive. And they know they're tall, so they act cocky and all that stuff.
On the other hand, at least you're not attracted to short, ugly men that are also red flags. So at least you have something going for you. You're being tricked. At least if they're a red flag, make them tall and attractive. The real kicker is when you realize that you've been entertaining a red flag of a man who's also a rat.
Finding someone attractive, of course, hinders your perspective. Because if they're short and ugly, like, you would get out of that as soon as you find the red flag.
Exactly.
The reason why you're stuck is because they're tall and attractive.
You keep deluding yourself to think, oh, but they're so tall and so cute.
Yeah.
You know, and then you look past the red flags.
It's not worth it, girls. It's not worth it.
Get out of there.
This one is so concerning. I like being teased. I love this word choice. Or degraded a little. Not full-on bullying, but teasing. Like calling me an idiot or something. I also like clingy girls, I think. A normal amount of teasing in a relationship is important. But I would also think this person has a lot of self-worth because it's okay with them being called an idiot. Or? I'm like, I don't mind. But I mean, nonchalant, that's like half of these answers, and that's our answer that we've been talking about. I mean, we just like a nonchalant guy. At this point, maybe it isn't even a red flag because everyone thinks the same thing.
But theoretically, I don't like a nonchalant man. But that is who I end up being attracted to. Shall we go to...
No, but it's kind of an ick if you think about your man being interested in everything you say. Oh, really? Oh, how lovely. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, I don't know.
It's too much.
You're so pretty today. Oh my God, this makeup, this hair.
You should be an actress.
Give me an Oscar.
You gave me the ick.
I love making situations that would freak Jade out.
Nominated.
Yes.
For an Oscar.
I cannot skip from this clingy part thingy. I mean, clingy people, I guess that's because maybe you've grown up being a bit more neglected. Is that what I want to say, maybe? If it's clingy in a good way, I think it's positive. I do think your partner should be at least a little bit clingy. Or I'm saying in a good way, more interested without you having to ask for it all the time.
Yeah, but I also think clingy implies a certain level of insecurity in the person who is being clingy. And that I wouldn't necessarily find attractive. But if they are pursuing you and constantly showing you effort and attention, that is a different thing.
Okay, so the next question we asked our friends was, do you think a guy should pay on the first date? Why and why not? So the first person has responded, it depends on who asks who out. I think the person that asks another person out should pay since they wanted to go out with you. But if they are poor, it would be nice to share the cost. Swedish mindset here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think a lot of Swedish people would split the bill of anything or swish, like send each other the money afterwards, which is very normal. And I think there's definitely a difference between in what context you're meeting this person. If you, for example, are going on a Hinge date and you're meeting this person for the first time ever, I would not want to pay for the other person because I don't know them. I could pay for myself and you can pay for yourself because we don't know each other yet.
Would think, imagine if it's a floppy date and you just waste your money.
Exactly.
When you don't have a high budget, you gotta be budgeting on that date, because you can't...
You gotta afford all the other dates.
I mean, you can't help but thinking if this was worth the date you would pay for or not,
Yeah.
That's just reality. I do appreciate if someone wants to pay for me, but I don't mind paying for it as well. But if it's a first date, that's interesting. I guess when I've been on first dates, the guys have paid for me. But I always try to match up to that level with going to, let's say, a cafe afterwards and get desserts and coffee and stuff and mutual it out. I don't think it's that big of an issue.
No, I don't think so either.
I think also because I've only gone out with guys I'm interested in and not seen if I will be interested in this guy after meeting them. Like, I just straight on know if I would be keen to at least go on a date with this person or not. So then I don't mind spending the money. But if I were put in a situation where I'll have to test out the water and see how it feels, then maybe I would have a different opinion.
Also, if you really like a person, I don't think something as small as whether they offered to pay for your date or not will become a deal breaker if you truly like the person, because you'll look past that and not see it as an issue. Whereas if you already have your doubts about someone, or you're the kind of person who's avoidant and is already looking for red flags from the beginning, you're just going to add that onto the list of things you don't like about them. And that is a sign for you that maybe this is not someone you're interested in.
Exactly. It shows how you're not interested in that person because you're already looking for what to nitpick on.
I do think
honestly, if you're really head and heels for this person, like, you would not think it's a weird thing that you have to pay or they have to pay. Like,
no.
That's all out the window. You start measuring the things when you're kind of unsure, I think, with making a decision.
Exactly.
And
the next response was interesting to me. This person said, I personally think a guy should pay on the first date. For me, it feels like a sign of effort and respect. If I let a guy pay, it usually means I like him and I'm open to seeing him again. But if I insist on splitting the bill, it's often my polite way of saying I don't see it going anywhere after the first date. I've never heard
what
that.
is this rule you have set? Because imagine at a date you insist on paying and this person is like, she really likes me. That's what I'm thinking.
Rejection.
Give the wrong image to this person. It's very opposite from what I said. They would rather pay and not.
But I kind of get this in a way because in some way, if I know already that I'm gonna not be interested in this person again, I don't really want to feel like I owe them something. And I don't, owe is kind of the wrong word, but I like to have it even, and I like to feel like I've had a mutual interaction with this person, and that if I reject them, for example, later, they won't feel hard done by because I rejected them and they had to pay for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I also feel like when it comes to those decisions, you are allowed to be very cocky.
Yeah.
Like, I would think, well, at least you got to meet me and spend time with me and have dinner with me.
Privilege.
Like, if you... Exactly. That was a privilege for you. And that chance will never come again in your life. You'll never be able to relive that.
You should
bliss.
pay for my presents.
Right?
No, but...
Also, if it's a person you're never going to see again, why do you feel like you have to be memorized as a positive person in this person's life?
Oh, right.
I think it's also, it's very people-pleasing behavior as well, maybe, to a point. Getting your epiphany. What chance for that?
Actually,
I mean,
yes.
I am a people pleaser as well, definitely, but
it's more for my own peace, I think, afterwards, that I don't feel like, oh, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, for your sanity.
Yes.
So it doesn't haunt you.
Exactly. But I do think one thing that I just thought about was it feels quite nice if you're on a date with someone and then you kind of naturally one person pays and then maybe the next time the other person pays, where it's not like, okay, this person bought you drinks, because obviously it is a lot easier to just tap your card once and pay for both people. I do think it can kind of shatter the moment of romance if the person says, oh, hey, so can you swish me the money in that specific moment?
Yeah, I get the sending afterwards, but I also think you shouldn't be afraid of talking about when it's time to pay. It's one small sentence. You can just ask, is it okay if I pay for my food and you pay for yours? Like in a nice way. Yeah. Then it doesn't become awkward. And then if they're agreeing to it, then of course. If they bring some other response, oh, you know what, I'll take it all, then I wouldn't say no. Sure, go ahead.
Yes. But I do think it's nice when it just becomes like a reciprocal thing. And for example, if you're going on like a longer date, first you, I don't know, get like drinks, and then later you go to a restaurant and get food, and then after that you go get dessert. And then it kind of becomes like the first person takes the drinks, second person
if you're interested in them.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking if you're not interested in this person, you would not go be that, like
to all three places.
To all three places. You would not go to a cafe afterwards. You would not go for extra drinks. You would want to get the f- out of there. Okay, so the next person says yes, because women already have spent enough prior the date. Spent enough as in time-wise, the ritual prep for the date, and spent enough as in the money spent for the makeup and outfit, etc. Men paying for the date is the bare minimum they could do apart from being a decent man, which they rarely are. See, now this answer is funny because I feel like you who wrote this, you would be happy to not be heterosexual, but you just happen to be, so you have to date men. That's the position you are in, you know?
I mean, I get it that women already have to pay enough in a patriarchal society that this is a small price for men to pay just for the date. And maybe also the fact that the gender pay gap and men already get paid more and have more opportunities, etc.
Definitely.
So I do get it, but I do think, I personally don't think of it to this extent, but I definitely understand.
Yeah. But I get the time and getting ready. Of course, society has put us in this strict rule where you have to look your best self in order to go on a first date, and you're kind of rated based on that. I wouldn't really want to buy into that personally, because if this person thinks I'm like, let's say, underdressed or whatever it is, that's not the person for you, first of all. But I do understand the worrying part.
And I think just the societal expectations on women are higher for beauty standards, for example, like for first dates.
Definitely.
And society does feed us this capitalistic image of, okay, you need to buy all these products in order to look your best and feel beautiful and be acknowledged by men. But that could be a whole other episode, and we could go into that.
Definitely. The patriarchy. All right. Next.
Do you think a guy should pay on the first date? Why or why not? This person says, no, it should be seen as equal or more like common sense. Sharing it would be best as it's a date that both came to. If we believe in a world of equality, then I do believe that there shouldn't be a question of why men should be first to pay. Women might as well want to pay and show their independency too. Yeah, that is definitely a different perspective. And I think it is good that we do get a lot of different perspectives.
I do agree to this one as well.
Because a lot of people would say the person who asked out the other person should pay for the date. Which I could agree with. However, there's an expectation that men should already ask women out from the beginning. So I don't think that necessarily works, because I don't know if as many women ask men out as men ask women out. But I don't know, because I haven't been really in the dating scene as much. But I guess you have to take that into consideration as well.
But I also think this person says, if we believe in a world of equality, then there shouldn't be a question of why men should be first to pay. But realistically speaking, we are trying to get closer to equality, but it is not equal. So that's why there's the question.
Yeah.
Hence, you know?
Hence. Yeah.
So the next person says, no, but sure, because I don't want to spend money.
Preach.
That sums this whole question up. Why not? If they're willing to, I would never say no to it. I would not feel guilty about it. I would not feel sorry about it. You wanted to, so do it.
I do appreciate it if someone else offers to pay for me on the first date. I do like it and appreciate it. But then I will argue with them and say, no, it's okay, I'll pay for myself.
Okay, you read the next one.
All right, the next person says, yes, a guy should pay because I am just a girl. Tax the patriarchy.
Preach.
I don't think there's much else to say there. So.
No disagreements there. When an equal world has arrived, we will be paying half and half. Until then, we just do what's suitable for us. Another friend says, disgusting man here. I think it depends. If I asked someone on a date, I'd 100% pay for everything. If it was a mutual date, I'd pay my share, and if I really like the girl / date, I'd pay for both, to make a good impression. In brackets, call it shameless, but it's the truth. If they, the girl, asked me on a date, I think it's only fair she expected to pay in full since she invited me out. However, I'd never let anyone pay for me anyways. I'm paying for myself every time, and most of the time for them as well. For you saying you're a disgusting man, you're pretty nice.
Another person said, yes, a guy should pay on the first date. No explanation given.
Just yes, 2 exclamation marks. Good
and
for you.
Then the last person here says, personally, no, I don't think it should be expected for men to pay. However, it's always nice if someone offers. Though I like to pay for my own stuff, and I would appreciate it more if someone I already knew paid for dinner versus someone who I'm on a first date with. Because it kind of makes me feel like I owe them something if it is someone I don't know.
That's you who answered this.
That's kind of what I was saying.
That's your exact response, yeah.
Although I did not answer these questions.
No. Yeah, I personally do like this opinion as well. I don't think it should be expected.
No.
Either. But it's of course nice if someone offers to pay.
Yeah, and I think that's the conclusion for me here is like, I really appreciate it if someone offers, and in certain times I have definitely accepted. And then it depends. Other times I feel like I just want to pay for myself, and so I will.
I think we can get through some of these, the last part of the dating parts, and then we can come back with a part 2. So the next question that we received was, what are your relationship/friendship deal breakers? Bonus, how have they changed over time? I like this question. This is a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
It's same as, this is like, it's noticing the red flag and taking action upon it in a way. So,
and I think it's kind of more than a red flag, because it means like this is something that's a boundary for you that you will not just let it slide. You will actually stop seeing this person.
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
So the first person says, talking badly about a mutual friend or a person from a friend group to you. Before I wouldn't mind this, as it felt like it created a bond between me and that person, but now it's just a sign that they will talk badly about you as well. I agree.
I totally agree. And it's very different if this is a new friend or a friend you've been seeing for a long time. But there's also a difference between gossiping and talking about a situation in the hopes that you can resolve it, or, you know, just talking in a way of observing and seeing, you know, bringing up the problems or issues and seeing how you could work through it, versus just criticizing someone and saying they're an idiot or they're stupid. Is very different.
I remember when I was in school not so long ago, there was a girl. It was like a few days into school, and she was talking badly about one of the classmates, and I instantly was thinking, because she wanted to create a bond between everyone else, and I just thought it was so pathetic, because then I lost complete trust for her for the next year, so I never told her anything personal, anything deep, because I just knew she would be doing that behind everyone's back, which kind of turned out to be true, because she, no one asked for it, but she kept proving herself afterwards with the same gossip anyways. So it says a lot about a person to me when you decide to do that, and especially talking about someone to another friend out of concern is a totally different thing than just talking bad about them. I think talking about a friend because you are concerned for them and you want to maybe talk to your mutual friend about what you could personally do for this person to make their life maybe better, if you need to give them advice or if you want to help them in any ways. That's different from just talking bad about them and not getting anywhere, just for source of entertainment, which I think is quite pathetic.
Exactly.
I mean, come up with some other things in your life.
Yeah, and also, if you're trying to speak negatively about another person in order to create a bond with someone, I think that's quite a rocky foundation to base a friendship or closeness over, because then your relationship is only going to be about complaining and being negative about things, and that's not going to bring either of you much joy, I don't think.
Right.
Of course, as humans, we all complain to an extent, and that is something we bond over. Oh, what terrible weather it is today, or oh, I'm so tired, whatever it might be. But if that's the only thing you can talk about, you're probably not a very interesting person to be around. So find other things you can bond over.
Imagine how easy it would be if you could become friends with a person and just talk about the weather.
I'm so tired.
That's why
it's
we
raining.
Gossip in our life, and I agree on gossiping as well, and we all love it. Everyone I know around me loves a good gossip. That's why I always ask Jade for her dating gossip, because I don't have any. The bond between me and that person is definitely a sign that they will talk badly about you, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that's also maybe not necessarily a full-on deal breaker, but something I would be very aware of and wary of.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next person says that lying is a big deal breaker for them. They say even small lies can turn into bigger problems later. For me, honesty is really important in both friendships and relationships. If someone lies, it feels disrespectful and breaks trust. And without trust, it's hard to keep a healthy connection. I wonder what these small lies could be about. But definitely, I think if you have the predisposition to be lying about small things, then I guess you might also feel comfortable lying about bigger things.
I mean, you do not want to be revealing your dark secret to someone 3 years later in your relationship. Like, that is definitely maybe a deal breaker. Depends on what's been hindering you from telling this stuff. But I do think it's important because trust should be the foundation of a relationship rather than something as an accessory. I always go by thinking that saying more is better than saying less. Just in general, just thoughts and everything. It's better to let the other person know, let your friend know, rather than keeping it all silent to yourself, avoiding talking about it to anyone because you're worried of what response you'll receive, and so on.
If there are two mutually mature people in a friendship or relationship, you sharing your thoughts and feelings to them should not necessarily, depending on what they are, shouldn't be met with hostility or complete shutdown. I think in a good friendship, you're able to talk about those things openly. And I think also, I don't know if I've ever met someone who openly will lie straight to my face. But I think it's a lot to do more with omitting the truth or avoiding it and not being open about things until it's maybe too late.
I mean, I think the most recent time I was lied to was in high school, straight up to my face, lying. And I'm not friends with her anymore, so goodbye.
Yes.
Liars out the window. Also, the audacity to be lying to someone's face when you clearly know the truth. I think it's just a dumb move. There's too many questions, so we're gonna skip a few and choose the ones that are more interesting.
Yeah.
I have a hard time forming new friendships with people who don't respect themselves. It sounds harsh, but it spills over into everything they do, what they talk about, and what their current problems are. Like, I'm sorry I can't talk about the same situation over and over again, and you're doing nothing about it. Then don't even ask for my advice.
Is this you writing?
Preach!
That's you.
I do have to heavily agree to this opinion. I do think, I mean, not that you ever measure talking to your friend as like a beneficial thing. Of course, you can talk about things over and over again. I do find it difficult, and I do want to help my friends that have lower self-esteem and don't believe in themselves as much as I do. I mean, not like a sense of hope, but you want to uplift them and make them feel seen and make them feel worthy. And when it's not met with the same reaction that they are self-worthy of themselves, then it gets very difficult for me to maintain a long-term friendship in the longer run, because I don't want to, that's necessarily not the reason I would give up on them. Definitely not. I do need to see my friends grow to the same level that I feel like I am on in that stage of my life. It's different when it involves, let's say, depression or anxiety. None of those things, but I'm thinking just low self-esteem in general. It's not beneficial for you. Sounds so stupid. Of course, everyone has a part of themselves that they have lower self-esteem in, but I understand this thing where it just soaks up in everything they do, their mindset, the way they act towards others. If it's like, if your low self-esteem is that you are constantly comparing yourselves to others, but you are not making the change for the better, thinking that, oh, but this person has this good trait and I think I have this good trait, so I will use this person as my motivation and build a higher self-esteem. But if you're only comparing yourself and lowering yourself compared to what you're comparing yourself to, I just want to say that it's the mindset.
And I think it's also hard to be friends with someone in the long run. And it becomes quite tiring if you have to continuously be uplifting them, encouraging them, trying to help them believe in themselves the whole time, because we believe in our friends. We see how good they are, how great they are, and we just want them to also believe the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's sad for us if they can't also see what we see, and it becomes disappointing, as sad as it is, if they keep making decisions that disrespect themselves.
Yeah.
It becomes like self-sabotage, and at some point you can't really do much else, because you can't make someone change who doesn't want to change, and they have to make decisions in their own life for themselves.
I don't personally think I have friends that don't want to change. It's more like I said, I know people that want to evolve in their life, career-wise, education-wise, and they know that what the answer is, but are choosing not to do it because they're avoidant, or those type of traits, I do feel like can get tiring at some point. And it feels like you're meeting this friend, let's say if you know each other from middle school, and you want to be growing together, but if you constantly feel like you're met with the person that's still in middle school, then it's hard for me personally to maintain a longer friendship with them and be seeing them too often and stuff, even though you still care for them.
That's a very important and interesting one, and I think there's a lot to talk about with that as well.
This person also said, then don't even ask for my advice. But I guess it's one thing if they're asking for your advice and not listening to them, but I also feel like a lot of people feel like they have to give advice. But I think mostly people who are ranting about their problems, they already know the answer.
Yeah.
You're not stupid. You know the answer, but you can't make the decision even if you know it. And this is just a personality difference. Some people act upon it and some people cannot. But I definitely do think that you can just listen to the friend also.
Exactly. Yeah. And that can also be a good thing, but I guess you can only listen to an extent if it's been going on years and years and years, and it's the same problems that this person is coming to you with. It can become frustrating. And also, if, for example, this person is actively putting themselves in a situation that hurts them and not changing, but knowing that it's the wrong choice or whatever it might be, it is hard to be there for them as a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see the next ones.
A few last ones here.
The next person says, relationship deal breakers, smoking and snooze or drugs of any kind. They say having a Rasta is a big no-no. Poor communication or low emotional intelligence. Financial irresponsibility.
This is just this person's ex.
But I guess it's also like they would not. That's like a deal breaker. So as soon as anyone does any of these things.
Yeah, right.
Whereas like these could be red flags.
I'm getting invested. I am forgetting the root of the question. I'm just
But it is quite
judging
funny.
people here.
I was talking to someone about this and they asked like what a Rasta is. But of course, I mean, that's not something you want anyone you're dating to have, is like a list of all the other people that they're also going to date if it doesn't go right with you. Like that's not a very good thing to have.
Yeah. Low emotional intelligence, I agree.
Yeah, totally.
I've personally been financially irresponsible as well. Have you read to that part?
Yeah, I did read that. I mean, for me that wouldn't be a deal breaker, but it would be a flag or a warning bells would be going off.
I think it is for me after a certain amount of time. If this person self-sabotages themselves time and time again with being too financially irresponsible that we cannot even meet each other anymore, then that is definitely a deal breaker. I mean, you also feel sad for them because you see them not being able to overcome their responsibility time and time again, which you end up watching them having to deal with the consequences and constantly feel sad for them. I mean, it's not fun to be financially responsible, and going into your mid-20s, you are kind of seeking for financial stability more and more. I think it just comes naturally. It doesn't matter about if you're poor, if you don't have money, or if you have a lot of money or not. It's the responsibility that comes with it, how you deal and manage your money.
There's different levels to it as well.
There's different levels to it. It depends. You cannot be having a little bit of spare money and spend that all on something.
No.
All at once. That's a dumb choice, in my opinion, but I don't know.
You have to find a balance, I think. Yeah, and then they said a few other things, but yeah.
Friendship deal breakers: dishonesty, self-centeredness, zero respect of boundaries, disloyalty, or betrayal.
Which are all pretty straightforward, I would say.
Yeah, self-centered is hard as well. We have two more, so we can take one more each, and then we'll hop on to part 2 after having dinner. But the next one says disrespect, manipulation, gaslighting, controlling behavior. Which, I mean, it goes back to all the red flags we've been talking about, but disrespecting someone and having that person in your life definitely lowers quality of your life, I think. So I do agree to what this person is saying. And the scary thing is manipulation and gaslighting. You are not self-aware of it whilst you're in it. You only realize when you have escaped it or gotten out of it. It's very rare you realize and take action on it when you're going through it. So that is definitely hard to assess, in my opinion, but it's definitely a deal breaker. Exactly. It's the same with controlling behavior as well. You kind of find out about it afterwards, but I don't think it's a good trait to have in a person.
No, definitely not. And I mean, these people can be like narcissists or just manipulative, and that's the hard thing, is that you probably don't notice it until it's too late, or you've actually gotten out of it.
Yeah.
Which is the tough thing. Yeah. The last person here said, over time, I expect people to actually take accountability for their actions. If they don't, then I don't have time anymore. I kept up with too much before without saying anything. If you can't acknowledge that you did something wrong, then bye. And I do agree with this. And I think the tough thing is you shouldn't put up with so much without saying anything to your friend, for example, because maybe it sounds like you would let resentment build up. But I do think if someone continuously does things wrong, even if they say sorry, but keeps doing it, they can't actually be sorry. Because they're not taking accountability or actually changing for the better.
You're either avoidant or you are not self-aware. You don't know that you keep repeating yourself.
Because then it also just, at the end of the day, feels like the person doesn't care about you or your feelings.
Right.
And is not considerate. And whether they're aware of it or not. Or they're just unable to change because it's such a deep-rooted pattern or habit.
I mean, it shows in friendships and relationships, I guess, but this is also more of a trait that this person has to do some self-reflect and self-development on.
Yeah.
And yes, you are allowed to say bye to that, because also I do feel like being patient with a relationship and a friendship is to an extent. If you feel like you don't have energy for it anymore, then maybe your time has come to an end of being friends, and you can spend so much more of that energy elsewhere. Use that time more on other friends that you haven't been able to see as much because you've cared for this person, but they're not reciprocating it in the same way you expect them to. And you assess friendships based on your standards. So even if they, in some other person's eyes, could be a really good friend, if they are not to you, then you have every right to say that you want to call it quits.
Yeah, and just set a boundary as well. And maybe it's also good to make it known before you do decide that you don't want to be friends with this person any longer. If it has been a long-term friendship or a very close friendship, it is good to bring things up, as we said before, and
discuss.
Bring up your issues and see if you can talk it out. But if you've done that and they still don't listen time and time again, then you have every right to end things.
And sometimes we always go by the saying, he's just not that into you these days. And I also feel like with friendships, sometimes you just stop caring about a person, and it's all right. You have no energy to put into this person anymore, which is definitely sad. And if you have tried to discuss, then good for you. But also, you don't owe them every single explanation. If you feel that it's time to call it quits, but you don't want to hurt them, then I mean, what are you supposed to do? Relationships are complicated. Any type of relationship is complicated. To keep it is complicated. To let it go is complicated. And you do what's right for you.
Exactly. And you can often find a lot of peace afterwards. And
closure,
and just focus on yourself as well.
You can always rekindle a friendship and relationship later when you have both learned more in life.
Learned and grown.
Yes, learned and grown. But we thank our friends for sending in these questions, and we will be back for a part 2. So stay tuned for that next Tuesday. Yes. See you. Bye.